Welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider Podcast, where we're joined by your hosts, Tania Gomez and Paul Bryan. In each episode, we'll be sharing valuable insights and tips to help you turn your NDIS business into a profitable venture. So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, you've come to the right place. Let's stop surviving and start thriving.
G'day everybody and welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider. I'm Paul and I'm here with Tania.
Hey Paul, how are you today?
Really good.
I'm really excited to talk to you today because today we're talking about one of your programs, which is Find My First Client Challenge. And we thought we'd talk about this because our most popular downloaded podcasts are all about how do I find clients, how do I grow, how do I take my business to the next level? And you kind of do just this in the program. So why don't you tell us about this program, how long you've been running it for, and tell us more.
It came about a little bit differently because I noticed that a lot of people are talking about how they want to get started and they put up a Facebook post and then expect to be flooded with clients. And I just thought, well, let's look at any other business. If you open up a mechanic shop and just kind of hope people will turn up, it's not a good business plan to run with. So I thought, I've been thinking about doing this idea for a while, just going, let's get right to the source. No fluff, nothing, just a couple of days. Here's exactly what you need to do to get that process rolling. And so in true Paul fashion, on a Thursday, I decided this was a good idea. Friday, I promoted it to some people. Sunday, I put them in a Facebook group, and Monday we started the first call. And it was a bit of fun. I mean, I've had a lot of people in my Facebook group who had asked, how do you get your first client? And I have a big thing about you don't get clients, you create clients. And so we had a chat around that. But I really broke it down into really 4 main sessions to help people get the ball rolling. So I'll walk you through them really quickly. All right. The first one is gather a crowd. And it doesn't matter if they're NDIS providers. In fact, ideally not. Friends, family, people don't know that you've got a business. Let's get it out there. The second one is on our podcast before, we talked about that idea of the one ideal client. So it's the one client matrix. What does that look like? The third one, it's called resting pitch face. And I did say pitch, making sure everyone understands that. It's about you just know exactly what to say, when to say it. It's the default thing that comes out of your mouth. You know what you're talking about. You don't want to be looking for what to say. It just has to be coming for you. And then really understanding that boring is the profitable side of business. The things you do on repeat help things happen. So it's just these 4 things that we sort of break out in the quick session and help people get the ball rolling and be accountable to doing the stuff.
So just run me through that again. So I've got find a crowd. What was the second one?
The one client matrix.
Yeah, one client matrix. Then you've got resting pitch face, and then boring is profitable.
Boring is profitable.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I love that. That's great.
What they really break down to is the 4 things that really just need to happen on repeat in your business to start attracting people to you.
Yeah, the 4 things that need to happen. I love that. I think that's really great and easy to use. So for our listeners at home that are thinking about, going out there and trying this, where would they start? How would they find a crowd?
So realistically, it's a crowd of anybody who's in your contacts. So I'm going to give this thing away right here, right now, because for the go-getters, you can do this, or you can come and jump on the challenge. Most people who are in my group know that I give everything away. So if you want to do it, run with it. If you want to be accountable, let's chat. But gather a crowd. Idea is find 50 people. Again, don't have to be NDIS providers or support coordinators. Literally 50 contacts that you currently have who you have had a conversation with before. So 50 people who are warm to you, right? And even at that point, we don't even necessarily say anything to them yet because we want to get really clear on our one client. Then we move on to the one client, right? Number 2, we get really clear on the demographics. Who can I serve? What locations? What types of abilities? What are the, people have seen me do the 3 circles, the demographics, the psychographics. What are their dreams, goals, and aspirations? And then the 3rd circle is your experience and qualification. Like where does all of that cross over to be an ideal service? And, we've talked before about how many new providers are trying to be everything to everyone, casting a wide net. And that really has been problematic for so many people because I can help anybody, but you're helping nobody at the moment. So let's help one person, right?
Yeah.
The next thing is I actually challenge them all to find 50 new contacts, right, who you've never had a conversation with. And then in resting pitch face, we develop a elevator pitch, a idea of you being able to say, I help this ideal client get this ideal outcome through my specific process, right? And developing that in a way that you can put that into some template DM messages that we have, some template email messages that we have that aren't just dumping a wall of information. And sometimes it does come about how you communicate it, how you get the information across. Goodness knows I've received, and probably all of our listeners have either sent or received a wall of words in a DM to somebody, which I don't read. And I'm sure that most people don't just read, 4 pages worth of information about your business, why you started, and the 37 different line items that you provide. So it's about having clear, concise information. And then we finish it off with, obviously, boring is profitable. There are just a few things that we do on repeat, like set up networking meetings, have coffee budget, right? If all you did for advertising was spend money on coffee with other people, it'd be a good budget, well invested. And then we look at things like staying top of mind every 2 weeks, being in contact with the people who are actually warm to you. You don't need to talk to 200 people. You need to talk to probably about 15 to 20 and have actually good relationship with them. So we start with those first 50, the second 50, so 100 contacts. And out of those, you should get about 10 to 20% who are actually having conversations. The cool thing was, Tania, we had really, really good output from this. Can I tell you some of the things that happened?
Yeah, I'm really interested in the results.
So we had Eddie join in. He was really only just getting started. He'd done a bit of support work and he had everything in place. Everyone who joins has to have, their business set up, their insurance, they have to have some form of qualification in the space. So he was ready to go. He'd done a bit of support work, but he really wanted to do his own thing. He couldn't make it to the last call, had to watch the recording because in that first 2 weeks, he had signed up a client and started immediately with them, and then had other people referring clients to him. So his issue now is he's looking for support workers. So in 2 weeks, he went from having no work to looking for support workers.
Yeah, amazing.
We had another lady, Dinah, who's running a holiday program, her first holiday program. And during the meetings, she got a message saying, we'd love to come along. And so she ended up with her first few people booked into her holiday program. Roz, she started she had an idea to do some creative stuff and around market gardens and market stalls, but hadn't really put the idea out there. Well, she set it up and now she has clients coming to her saying, oh, we want to be a part of that. Can you support us in creating things for markets, going to markets? And she's also in the process with the local council of setting up a community garden as well.
Amazing.
So all these little things that got some independent support workers just their first step into the place to get the ball rolling. Now, if you've got 50 clients or so, that's not probably the process that's going to work for you. But if you've got one or two or even none, it's really that process that's going to get your ball rolling and get that momentum behind you.
It's just creating momentum. That's what I was about to say. It's really just creating momentum and getting moving and having a clear plan of these are the few small steps you need to take to actually get started. I think it's
Yeah.
great.
If
Are you running another
anybody's
challenge?
heading on next, yeah. So we're running another one soon. I tried it a couple of different ways. We did one which was all live presented, and you have to be very accountable to this. Like you have to follow a very strict procedure when you come into the group. You have to do your intro video. So if anybody joins this, you are going to have to put a video on Facebook, and you are going to have to make messages, and you're going to have to talk to people. So introverts beware. But the idea of this is really about following that process. And so I have actually let someone out who refused to do the stuff. I said, cool, this is not for you. Enjoy, go find your own way. And so we had 5 people go in, and everybody got the ball rolling in their business, which was fantastic. I then ran it a second time. And what we did was I had the recordings, and I just let everybody in and say, here you go, do this video on this day, this video on this day, and I'm here to answer questions. And I did find that people weren't as engaged to do the stuff. A couple of people were, but some people were just not really up for just watching a video. And so I decided that there's probably going to have to be, if you're not a go-getter, it's going to be a difficult thing for you. In fact, if you're not a go-getter, it's going to be a difficult thing to run a business, right?
Yeah.
So it's about having that bit of a push inside of yourself to do the things that make a result.
Yeah, they always say that what you want is just on the other side of your comfort zone, right? And I think that is really true. And I think if you can push through kind of your ego and thinking that other people are going to judge you or whatever it might be, that you actually do get to where you're supposed to be or where you want to be. So yeah, I think that's great. So I have a question about the 50 contacts. Who are they?
Yep.
So obviously I understand their network, but are the 50 new people, are they looking for support coordinators? Are they talking to other providers, or are they finding participants directly?
No. So we do talk about finding not participants, but support coordinators, plan managers, other providers. If you can get a hold of someone in local council, even, physios and OTs and all that sort of thing, because the idea of that is more so about being okay with reaching out in a specific way to people you've never met before.
Yeah.
And so the first 50 is actually where the clients start generating from. The second 50 is just get you in process of actually having a way of communicating with people that you've not met before. Because a lot of people, I found out, don't do that in a good way that makes people want to communicate back. So it was a bit of that actual reciprocal communication training, I guess, helping people bridge that barrier.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Like, I think we all get this block about sales, right? We all get a block around, I'm not a salesperson, I don't want to sell. And recently, in August, I launched my first group program, and initially the way that the marketing campaign was set up is that everyone who inquired, I would call back and speak to. And one of my first ever jobs was cold calling out of a Yellow Pages to try and sell timeshare. So I'm quite comfortable with sales, but I felt really strange about me cold calling people and being like, hi, it's Tania, can I sell you my product? It really was a really uncomfortable process for me. And I had to get through it, and I did get 12 people in my program, but it was much more comfortable for me to reach out to other people I knew and be like, can you refer people to me that you know? And lucky I have a network, and most people did come through referrals. But it reminded me of being in that stage of business, because Tania Gomez Consulting is still pretty new. I don't have a sales team. And so I do have to do all the things myself. But I have had sales teams for the past 20 years. So I haven't had to do that part myself. And I guess it's both scary and also rewarding that you have to relearn those skills and re-put yourself in that uncomfortable situation. But you do get the outcome at the end of it. So it's definitely worth giving it a go.
Well, even starting out that entry level for some of these providers, while the process that we used isn't really scalable to a multi-million-dollar business, the idea of connecting and having a relationship is 100% scalable. In fact, we still do that with multi-million-dollar businesses, is building real relationships, solving real problems for real people.
Yeah.
I find that's the core of most businesses, to solve a problem.
Yeah. And I think the NDIS space, although it is a B2C market, a business to a consumer market, actually your business to business connections is what creates most of your clients. It's not actually like going out and getting a booth at a shopping center and going and finding someone you feel looks disabled and going and speaking to them isn't going to work here.
Yep.
It's not like you're selling movie tickets or, it's not that type of approach. I don't think you could get a Yellow Pages list, or I know they don't exist anymore, but a list of phone numbers and call and say, hi, do you have a disability? Can I help you? I don't think that's the right approach. It is really this business to business approach of, right, I help young children with autism, you help adults with autism, let's refer between us because I can then get to
100%.
know you and trust you and know that you're going to care for my participants as well as I do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, it really is, we do like a few marketing processes in our programs, and very small percent is direct to consumer. When you're marketing in NDIS, it is really about that network and building human to human relationships between businesses. I think that's why networking has really become so prevalent in NDIS, because I know when I started looking in this space, probably about 3.5 years ago, I couldn't find much of any networking that was happening. People not really referring. It was, little closed communities or single providers. But over the last few years, we've seen, dedicated networking groups take off for the NDIS, and people are getting massive results by just going to a coffee meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved when we interviewed Tommy from WeFlex, how his strategies was 10 coffees. I think, was it 10 or 5?
Yeah.
And that was his whole aim. And, he's built an amazing business off the back of that.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think you'll ever regret building human connection to build your business.
Yeah. And look, I think that my branding in Tania Gomez Consulting over the past 4 months is probably a really good example of that. And for anyone who hasn't listened to the podcast before, I was really uncomfortable about using my name because I don't actually like being in the spotlight. I'm actually a introverted extrovert. I don't like showboating about me. It wasn't about me. It was just that I had to choose a name that differentiated me against Provider Plus when I had sold my shares. So I used my name and started using my face and my identity, and went and got comfortable of getting photos done. And then went and spoke at as many things as I can. And over the last, Tania Gomez Consulting was registered in January, and we're only, so it's not even a year, and I didn't start operating until March. So between March and now, it's really not a long time, but I really have created a really strong brand. And I have people tell me all the time that I'm everywhere. They see me everywhere. I get people booking into my diary just to find out who I am because they've seen me so many places and they want to know my story. And so I think that really shows that, I'm not naturally comfortable on the stage. I'm not naturally comfortable in front of the camera. But I know that what sets me apart from anyone who kind of is my competitor is that, I talk the talk, I walk the walk, I've got the experience. And so I have to show that is my unique selling point, is my experience in both business and the NDIS side as an auditor. And so by showcasing that, it makes everything easier. And I think if you're looking to launch a brand, you have to be really clear on what is your selling point against somebody else and how do you maximize that? And if you looked at my marketing budget for the year, it's not large. Considering I've built a lead list of about 3,000 providers without even going near clients who I used to work with in the past. I've done free networking events in almost every city. I've done speaking in almost every city. I've now been asked to keynote number of events as paid spots as opposed to me paying them and sponsoring them. And all of that is just by getting my profile larger. And actually, when you look at where my clients come from, the biggest place is speaking and the second biggest place is actually this podcast. So both of those things are things that I either pay for or don't pay me, but are definitely, and are completely outside my comfort zone. It's not comfortable to get on camera each week and, to sit there.
Yep.
It's actually, it's quite uncomfortable. And I, never watch them back because it just horrifies me.
Amen.
But doing those things, putting yourself out of your comfort zone is definitely where the joy is. And I think building that brand isn't too hard. You've been on a similar journey this year, Paul. How have you found your brand presence with the grassroots activities you've been working on?
Oh, look, I started a few years ago, but it's really only been in the last sort of 12, 18 months where things have become very much sustainable for me. Like most of my clients and people in my group will know my story that I used to be a cabinet maker. And I had a business for 17 years, completely outside of the industry, but had been coaching sort of on the side businesses. And it just got to this point where I just had lost passion in that other area, but was just thriving and really enjoying coaching and helping businesses who help people to do good things. And that's what really led me to working in the NDIS space, because it was just, I saw a need of people that didn't have the information, the experience, or even the get up and go to do what needed to be done to help people with disabilities. And I thought that I have a set of skills. Liam Neeson, I have a very specific set of skills. Sorry, terrible Liam Neeson impression. But that idea of just being able to get the information out to people and then assist them with it. So if anybody of these listeners are in my group, you will have probably seen me, floating head on a screen, drawing on my iPad. My brand is rough. I am not polished. I am not comfortable on camera, less comfortable on a stage. But the idea is that me doing these things, which are uncomfortable, have grown my business exponentially to a point where I've been asked, again, just like yourself, to start speaking in locations. People are contacting me who have not been in my ecosystem whatsoever about help to grow their business because they see the results that are happening for the clients I'm working with. And it's really just about, for our listeners here, what do you need to do to step out of your comfort zone and find that, all my listeners, the 20% of things that move your business, not the 80% of things that make you look busy, right?
Yeah.
Because we all do the things that make us look and feel busy, but what's that 20% of tasks that are actually going to bring the next client into your business? And it's probably 80% comfortable, that 20% uncomfortable stuff, but you got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today, Paul. Can you just tell me again, or all of our lovely listeners again, if they want to join your next or an upcoming Find Your First Client Challenge or any of your programs, what's the best place for them to find you?
Best place is to search for me on any social media under @NDIS Business Coach, or jump into my free group, the Profitable NDIS Business Builder, because that's exactly where we're going to be running it out of inside of that Facebook group. But again, jump on and connect with me there, because that is where, inside that free group, which is where we actually promote it exclusively inside of there.
Perfect. Great. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Paul and I will be back next week with another wonderful episode of the Profitable NDIS Provider Podcast. Bye for now.
See you later.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Profitable NDIS Provider Podcast with Tania Gomez and Paul Bryan. We hope you found today's episode informative and valuable. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating, and share it with others who could benefit from our insights. Until next time, keep thriving.